back like we never left. WARR Media 10th anniversary show here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Kyle Means. I am I've given myself many titles over the years, but I guess right now I am the executive editor. We have our good friends, our good colleagues, our co-founders of WARR Radio, Demonze Spruiel, and flanking me, Demonze Spruiel and Ken Davis. You may know him as D and Davis. We had our show for several years that we did. That was the cornerstone of WARR Media, of WARR Radio. 10 years ago, we and a couple other gentlemen saw a friend of mine tell me to say some MC rhymes. I have to say the rhyme is rough, and then it went this way. But us, Saul, Terry, and Joe Tanksley, we came together and we formed WARR Radio out of a previous endeavor, and I want you to talk about that too, D.
Oh, for sure.
But we formed that 10 years ago this year, and we're celebrating that today. We're celebrating that. We're celebrating our victories. We're celebrating just still being here, and just our brothership, our kinship that we formed over this time is something that's if it's special to nobody else. It's special to us, and we just wanted to put this on record and have some fun on this Saturday. There's also another reason that I will be bringing up a little later as far as the timing of doing this show. But me and D were planning to do this anyway because, like I said, the 10-year commemoration and all that. And, I'm really proud of what we've done as a group and what all of us are doing as individuals. At some level, we've made an impact in this industry and in Chicago that didn't, it's something that we really can't take for granted because we basically made something out of nothing.
I take it for granted all the time.
Yeah.
Take it for granted yesterday.
Well, you doing it, man. So you can sometimes that happens. You can afford to when you making it, but we gotta pull you back at some time. But you've been a big success of anyone.
Yeah.
And Tony over here has been a big success.
Josh is definitely doing this thing.
Been a success. D was able to retire. He did it.
That's how much bread we was getting. So much bread, he was like, I got enough.
I'm just building bookshelves and laying concrete and stuff. That's what I do.
And I'm doing some things now.
Yes, you are, cuzzo.
And again, I will talk about that in a little bit. But
all the stuff that Saul does.
Saul's the man.
Is basically he's basically the motor of WARR Media
Absolutely.
now.
On Spotify and shit. Like, damn, I'm on Spotify now? You came a long way from Blog Talk Radio.
You're at Times Square, too. You just haven't seen it.
Well, we've been on Spotify, though.
I'm just saying, though.
I think he was talking about the video because Joe was telling me that, like, somebody said, "Oh, Joe, I see the video
Yeah,
also on
yeah,
Spotify."
my
I guess a
guy.
lot of people didn't know that.
Yeah.
We've taken advantage of that. But like I said, Saul is basically Saul. I call him Saul. He never corrects me. Saul.
Yeah. There you go.
He's been a godsend over the past year and a half now.
Yeah.
And he's really kept up what we're doing in the present and going forward in the future. Like I said, we've been there 10 years. A lot of outlets with money and a lot of shit going for them haven't been around for 10 years.
Very true.
And we've been able to keep it going. And like I said, that's why I wanted to celebrate this, and I'm so happy and appreciative that you guys have come here today. But let's go around. But before we start, like I say, getting into our stories, so let's go around and let everybody know who's here. We'll start over here with Slick.
Jay Smooth.
Jay Smooth, yeah.
Oh man, Josh Hicks been here for since 2015.
Okay.
I want to say it was 2015. Yes, that's when we met. 2015, man. I was doing an internship for the Jerry Riles, the Rewind Sports 60, man, and met Demonze there. He was doing the production scenes. Dude was doing a wizard doing what he was doing, and he was like, "Hey man, what you doing here?" And I said, "I'm an intern at Roosevelt University." Obviously, shout out to my guy Saul Rodriguez. What's up? Are you
Lakers?
Are you Laker Nation, baby? But he asked what I was doing. I told him I was interning. I'm in sports journalism, writing, all those type of things. And I was doing writing at my school newspaper at the time. And he was like, you know, we are ready to my cousin. You know, we got this group together. You should write for us. And I was like, okay, let me think about it and everything. You know, as slick as D was, getting the card, gave the card and everything. Yeah, come on, I got you. We down the state. We got our show. Yeah, you gave me the
Cards. I got still in the draw.
Yeah, man, you gave me the card, and you said, yo, me and my guy Kim, we got a show downtown, which was right across the street from my dorm building. Yeah. So because of that, he was like, yeah, one of these weekends when you're not busy, come on down to State Street. Let's get this thing happening. So I went down there one weekend, was on your D and Davis show, and we've pretty much been stuck ever since, man. So yeah 2015 since I've been around, but it's been a lot of it's really been a blessing. You guys gave me my first start to really get out there in the professional realm. You know, a lot of different things materialized from that time, from column writing, podcasting, having my own show, you know, all that stuff. Like we really took a lot of different turns with that, but a lot of positivity, a lot of growth, a lot of experiences, a lot of exposure that really took things to the next level for not just WARR Media, but specifically even my career, learning from the likes of you all. So, yeah, man, it's been a blessing, and I'm glad to still be here, continue to roll into giving back and helping out in all the ways possible. And, you know, it's always, you know, great to be part of the family. So,
yeah, Josh was key, too, in regards, we talk about how we was able to keep up and keep this thing going. Like,
absolutely,
where it wasn't just me feeding into the website and whatever, and doing stuff on the daily. Like Josh really added to that as much as anyone, and like I said, we wouldn't be still going if it wasn't for Josh. So we definitely appreciate you, brother.
Absolutely, man. 2015, man. I feel like a proud journalist pop over here.
Right? How old were you then?
Oh man, I was.
Yeah, how old were you?
20.
You was 20?
I was 20.
Yeah.
Oh, Demonze mic.
Oh, I'm sorry. My bad. Yeah, I was 20, man. I was 20 when y'all recruited me.
Yeah, you babies, man.
You couldn't even drink, man. I really couldn't. Yeah. Oh, you did. You did, and I happily accepted it. I ain't gonna lie, I happily accepted it. But yeah.
I kind of figured I probably gave some drinks.
D, you should probably talk about the origins. So.
Oh, okay. Demonze Spruiel here, co-founder of WARR Radio, WARR Media. The origins was, wow, this is 2000. When did I have my first apartment? 2007, 2006. And Joe Tanksley, also co-founder, and you know, since still do his thing on WARR Media for Chicago Bears pod. So we were thinking about doing a radio show. He actually went to school for broadcast journalism at Butler University, I believe. And I said that, you know, I kind of wanted to do it. You know what I'm saying? I remember recording my first podcast up in my mother's, in my old childhood bedroom when I was still staying with my parents. And I played it for my girlfriend, now wife, and she was like, you sound real country. And like Stephen A. Smith, but real country. I'm like, what? So but I liked it though. And we had been kind of dabbling in YouTube already. It's like a very old YouTube video. We did a tribute to Jay Dilla when he passed away. Yeah. And my guy Mike Stokes, DJ Mike Caliber's out here doing his thing on WGCI right now. We all got together. Sean Terry, co-founder of WARR Radio. We went down to Betty Blue Star. That was on Milwaukee. I think that was the name of the place. But we used to do like hip-hop joint stuff. And we recorded ourselves, and we was like, we going to put it on this thing called YouTube. We was like, all right, cool. We'll put it on YouTube. And we had like two parts. And one part was us interviewing people about Jay Dilla and outside. And then we went into a studio that was on State Street. I forgot the name of it. Long set of stairs to go up there. And Stokes produced out of there. And he did a mix. And we did a Jay Dilla mix. So that was like our first like real intro to like journalism in a sense, but music wise. But Joe, getting back to it, Joe wanted to do a sports show. And I was like, all right, cool. And so Joe was like, okay, I'll be the host, you be the producer. I'm like, all right, cool, I can do it. So I kind of produced it for him. You know what I'm saying? Because I was the one, I was like really into tech and stuff like that. So I knew somewhat about mics. My old man's a DJ for like a long time. So I knew about boards, I knew about microphones. I knew about sound. Graduated from Columbia University, so I had an ear for music. Wanted to do business, but I had an ear for music, so I understood sound. And we did it for a little bit. And
what was the name then? 'Cause it
I
was
don't
Regal-
remember. It was just Regal Radio.
No, it was something. It was like Regal Entertainment.
Yeah, we used to throw parties too.
Yeah.
We was party
As in-
promoters. Yeah, we threw parties and stuff. And we did Regal Radio. I mean, not Regal Radio. We are Regal something. I can't remember. I can't remember the name of it. Regal Entertainment, I think was the name of it.
I reposted that Jay Dilla video.
Oh.
I had the name in there. I can't
Yeah.
remember though.
It was Regal Entertainment.
Y'all was like.
We did some of everything, man. Dude, we threw speed.
Janky promoted.
Yeah.
Janky promoted.
Dude, we threw speed date parties. We threw one at what's the joint next to the Family Den on Stony Island? What's the name of it? The dating game.
Yeah.
Man, we threw a speed dating party, a dating game. Somebody got together, had a baby. So it's kind of like, all right, we were.
I think people get together dating game a lot now.
Wait, we're doing a 10-year anniversary. How old's this child?
Yeah,
We need to
oh,
track him
yeah.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's before.
That kid is going to college.
Yeah, that's before 10 years.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not surprised. They're actually in the room right now.
No, hell no. Hell no. Hell no.
Surprise.
Surprise.
Baby
All this time it was
that little baby
Saul.
was Saul.
All this time you got back in. So, but no, we did all that. But going back to the radio thing, so we did that, and then Sean hopped in, and we had like a little sports show. And then I decided to go to broadcasting school, Connecticut School of Broadcasting, down on like Lake and LaSalle. It was for a 4-month program, night students. I had a job. I think I was married. Was I married to Chanel by then? I think we was married by then. And I used to harass her talking about sports with her like that. She's like, you need to go do something with this. Like, quit talking to me about the Sox. So I went to school, and it shut down 2 months into the program. And Connor McKnight was in, because he's still the ESPN Chicago right now. He was in the class. He was in the day class. I was in the night class. So it was kind of a few people that came up out of it, actually. And
You lied to me about somebody else that was in that class, but we won't talk about that.
it wasn't him. I didn't say him. I said I interned with him, not them.
Filthy liar.
So that shut down. I gotta admit, I was kind of depressed because I wanted to do this. I was about 26, 27 years old at the time. And then my guy Anton, who hit up Joe, was like, "Oh man, on Spotify." He was like, "Hey man, I think it's something. My guy, he does a show through his telephone." I'm like, "Through his telephone?" He's like, "Yeah, it's called Blog Talk Radio." I'm like, "All right, cool." So I checked it out, and it was like, "Oh, this is kind of dope." So we kind of moved there. Fast forward a little bit forward, me and this guy over here, Kenneth Davis, we worked together. So we were going to the break rooms and have very fierce debates about sports and shit. And people had to come in and like, y'all shut the fuck up. I got this to work. and I convinced Ken, like, hey man, we should do a radio show. I got my guys, we could do a radio show. We should do a football show. He's like, all right, cool. So we had a show. Ken and our first show was called Football Island. And we would talk about football, basically. And it was kind of weird because a couple of times, like, how long we do it, Ken? About 2 years? A year, maybe? It was like a season?
This season, you took a break from part of it.
That I had Grace? No, I had Grace by then.
Grace happened
It was before
during
that.
class. Grace happened during
In ICB, yeah.
So Grace was born between 2012.
Yeah, Mike.
2012 and 2013.
Yeah, 2012. She was born 2012.
Yeah.
So, but no, we had a football show called Football Island, and we kind of fast forward. Yeah.
We could bring Ken.
Yeah,
Let's rewind a little bit because,
Yeah.
like I said, that's about 12.
Yeah. Well, no. Well, me and Ken was doing that. This had to be like 2010.
10 or
9 or 10.
So I started working there at 08, but I got cool with Demonze in probably like the back end of 09.
09. Yeah. So it's about 2009. Now.
That's why I'm saying in 09, we did the first varsity show because I was on
Yeah,
that with
you was on there. Yeah, the varsity show. That was me, Sean, and Joe. It was called the varsity show.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I called.
You was in Milwaukee, right?
Yeah,
Well,
I was in
Wisconsin. Wisconsin. Not
Yeah, Milwaukee for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
You was in Wisconsin. Yes, you was in Wisconsin. Yeah.
I was a reporter up in Milwaukee, quote. and I was because I guess I was the only guy y'all knew who was actually in media.
Yeah, you were. Yeah.
And we talked.
Your mother called me. Was like, Kyle's up there writing in Wisconsin, like about sports. I'm like, oh shit, Cuzzo, hey, send me his phone up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We got you on the show. Yeah, the varsity show.
I
Yeah.
remember that first show we talked. We mostly talked about the Lakers and the Magic. They were in the finals.
My God. Yeah.
And I think Joe had some opinion about. I remember too about talking about. I think Rodman was getting into the Hall of Fame that year,
Okay.
and I think Sean jumped off. It was like Rodman's not a Hall of Famer.
Oh,
We all
God.
loved that.
I love Sean, but Sean got some hot takes, boy. Sean Terry got some hot takes. I love him though, man.
Yeah, but that was
That's
that
my
was
brother.
that was the first. That was the beginning on Blog Talk Radio, and then
Yeah.
like you said, you and Ken got together,
Mhm.
Decision,
Yep.
and y'all took it to.
Was it Bacon's then still?
Never worked. I would never work.
Okay, you didn't work at Bacon's. It was Bacon's when I worked there. Then it moved Decision. Yeah.
Y'all took it to the school. Y'all developed, and y'all.
Yeah, I convinced him. Ken didn't want to go to school. He didn't want to do it at first.
I don't think I would have went, particularly at that moment, if he wasn't going there.
Yeah. I was like, come on, Ken, we can do it.
Yeah, because I never really asked you this. Like, what was your mind state at that time? You were obviously into sports, and you could talk with anyone. But did you have any thought about doing it professionally?
My father had told me that that's what I should do, and I laughed at him and said, "I'm the topic. I don't talk about the topics arrogantly."
See, and this is what I was debating with in the lunchroom. He's like, man, you know what? I played football. You know, my knees. I had hopped over gates and shit. I'm like, Ken,
They supposed to be covering me.
yeah, I know, right? But that's what made it great, though.
Listen, I should have listened because I would have money now. So a friend, a guy that we work with, Mehdi, had
Mehdi.
on what was it? InstaChat? What's that? The Insta message? What was it?
Like a internal instant message.
Yeah, it's a message.
Yeah.
So him and Demonze would go back and forth. He just added me to their chat. And then the first was like, okay. I was like, what's up with this dude or whatever. And Mehdi would leave. And the second time Mehdi left, and it was just me and Demonze kind of clicked more at that time. And like I said, he went to the one school that closed. He was going to go again. And he was like, Ken, you should go. And I thought about it. I don't know. I thought about it for a minute. It wasn't just right away. And because you got to think the amount of money you're committing to something. And at this point, you got to think, so if he's 27, I'm 30. And Kenton was 2 going on 3 or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So you're talking about going to a class, we taking night classes.
Yep.
And they had to keep you in there. It's not like you can go in there for an hour and leave. You got to be in there for 3.5 hours or something like that. And then we had to do internships.
Yep.
So we were, and also we weren't. I mean, sometimes I could just. Sometimes I wouldn't even go, and D would pull me up and be like, "Wait, why you?"
And
not?
weren't you working like 2 jobs?
Yeah, because my internship turned into a job.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Right. So, because at one point I wasn't even how the internship was to turn into a job. It was a company that was coming off the ground. I thought maybe become billions and millions, and I was thinking about being the secretary or whoever that get that stock. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
On the ground
I'm
floor.
good.
Ground
I
floor,
got the
yeah.
floor. So then, of course, but me and D, the thing was we would really work in class.
Yeah,
So
we grind,
It was a
man.
lot of people. We had a very talented room. Let me say that for one. But a lot of times because we had younger people in there, and they were just kind of coming out of school. It was a lot of the same stuff where I went to Catholic school, so it doesn't take 10, 15 minutes to calm the class down in Catholic school. Where we were sitting there, man, you're in this class for hours. It may take 30 minutes damn near to get these kids to chill
Everybody
the fuck out.
joking around, whatever
Talking,
like that.
cracking, whatever. So it got
Yeah.
to the point once we knew that what's the assignment. Like I would say about 4 months, because initially me and D didn't even sit together, but we would still work together. But it was just so we wasn't like this is we're together, right? But once we got to the point where we could go work. As soon as a class, they would be like 15 minutes in, go do your assignment. People still on something. We would go to a studio and start. That's really where the show started.
Yeah.
When we just started cranking like we were doing the show.
Yep.
Up in the studio. That first studio, if y'all coming out that back room, that's straight across by the back offices or whatever. That was kind of our main studio if we can get that studio. And then, lucky enough, D being D and going for it, D was like, man, I'm going to get us a show on the school network.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm gonna give it. He kept saying this for about a month and a half, and I would say we graduated was October is when we graduated.
October.
So we got that show in the summertime, I believe. We had the show for about
Yeah,
3
we had the show when we were still in class.
Yeah, we had the show.
Yeah.
So we're still in class. We had
Yep.
the show in the summertime. I say the latest we got the show was August. I feel like so we made it got it in August, and then we graduated in October or whatever. And that's where it began. And then. I think the thing that we were fortunate because we were trash, and you gotta get reps.
Yeah, we were.
Reps.
Yeah,
You have to
yeah,
get
we were.
reps, You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And then we were lucky enough where Sydney came, then you
Sydney
came,
Brown.
and that allowed us to get better guests. It
Yep.
allowed us more structure.
Yep.
Fortunately, Tony came, and that just took us to a whole nother level.
Was Tony you our first intern?
No, he
Yeah,
was definitely
he-
wasn't.
Was Jason?
Jason?
No,
No,
Jason,
no, no,
what's his
no,
name?
no.
He wasn't our first. What's his name was our first intern?
Miguel, not
No, it
Miguel.
wasn't Miguel. It was. I still follow him on Facebook.
Yeah, he does real estate now.
Yes, he does.
Oh, I can't think of his name.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
He was the first Saul. No, just but
But,
he was a
then we
Latino
had-
cat.
then we
Yeah,
had-
he was a good dude.
We had another. We had the former the veteran that lived in
Oh
Indiana.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the black guy. I can't
No,
think of his name.
no, it was another.
Was he a postal? He was a postal
Yes,
worker.
yes,
Yeah.
another Latin brother.
Yeah, he was.
Yes.
We had.
Damn, I feel bad. I can't remember their name.
Yeah,
their
we
names.
had Showtime was up in there.
Oh yeah.
I seen Kevin.
Kevin?
I bought something from Kevin like 2.5 months ago.
Damn, how
He
many
was on
interns do
Stony
we
Island,
have?
And I pulled up on him. He didn't expect me to pull up. When he was on Facebook, I said, and I looked for him. I said, I seen you over here, so I got like some Mother's Day stuff from him.
Okay,
or whatever.
all right.
He was over there selling. And then we were fortunate enough, of course, to get Tony. And at that time, Kyle, ambitious Kyle was looking to do other stuff, and I was already like, "Yo, just let Tony be the producer." Right? Tony
Yeah.
started working at the store, and it was like,
Yeah.
it makes sense to just let.
And Tony was he was a radio. He was a production guy. I was more of like a talent guy.
Yeah, that's why I was.
'Cause
That's why I was trying to move you out the way.
Yeah.
Wait,
right,
but
right.
So-
well, hold on, real quick. Tony, did you know how to run the board before you came down there, or did we show you how to run the
No,
board?
I think y'all did. Y'all. Well, that board
I
specifically.
showed about it.
Well,
That board
means
specifically, or board in general.
no, that board specific.
Oh yeah, that
You
board
never ran the
specifically,
board
yeah.
like I ran.
Oh wait a minute, hold on. So as Ken said, I like badgered the school, the PDs, if you want to say, down there to get a show, and I can't remember the first dude name, but I know Brendan McCaffrey, a guy down in 670 to score, who I interned for because I get an intern down
Shout
in
out to
670.
Brendan.
Shout out to Brendan. I got an intern down at the score, and he had a show down there because he went there. And he was like, "Hey man, whenever you come on down, just come on down, and I'll be down there like waiting outside early in the morning until Brendan comes." He's like, "Man, you down here already?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm down here. Like I want to work." So that's why I would say Brendan really he was the main guy that kind of really tell me that kind of tell me like you can do this. You know, besides him, maybe Ernie Scanton. You know what I'm saying? Somebody teaches
Shout out
down
to
there.
Ernie Scanton.
Ernie
Big
Scanton.
time Ernie Scanton.
Send out to Ernie Scanton.
Devontae Stone.
Stone. Gill Urchek.
Jill
I
Urchet.
saw
That was out-
Devontae like last week.
Who don't see the
the first
Devontae
time-
in the streets, man?
that's the first time I've seen him in, like,
Devontae still
6-7
doing his thing.
years.
Yeah, Devontae still doing his thing. But yeah, go ahead.
What's the name that was running the station? Does softball.
Peter Ferrari.
Oh, Peter Ferrari. Yeah, yes.
And Evan Mack. Shout out
Evan
to-
Mack,
shout out to
Adam
Evan.
Abdallah. He was also the PD down there for a time too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I had to get in contact with him.
Gotta talk about both Kevin, rest in peace, and then Demonze, different
Yeah,
directions, because
yeah.
they were the ones that were there at the desk when everything was in disarray. And I don't think your show would have kept going. My show would have started if it wouldn't been for the PDs that were there at that point in time. Like, yeah, Adam Abdullah was doing like the over-the-top thing,
Yeah.
but day-to-day operations.
That was all them?
It was
Illinois-
Jedrian as well was at that point in time was a PD.
Where were you? Where were you at?
This
I
is-
didn't get. I wasn't around.
Jason Kaestner, everybody
I
else.
wasn't around Demonze as often as you guys were around Demonze. I feel I missed out. When were he? What? Because I thought Demonze was at the other building.
But Sal, right?
I
Yeah.
mean, he ran the other radio station, but he was still at the desk, you know, letting people in the door on State Street.
Okay.
And it was just like whatever.
He wasn't there when we was
shifts
trying to get
people
in there.
had.
Yeah, he definitely wasn't. He wasn't there when we were trying to get in there.
Yeah,
We'll be outside
no.
trying.
Wait, you think Demonze was going to be there Saturday morning?
Hey man,
That's not
listen,
his
I
shift,
wish
man.
Demonze was there. Shout out to Demonze too. Yeah, man, he's
Oh,
doing his
doing great
thing.
things, great
Huge
things.
thing. But wait a minute, real quick.
But I was saying that's why I wanted to get into right quick. The
Yeah,
talent.
I'm sorry.
That was there at that time.
Illinois
We
School
started,
of Broadcasting.
Because
Yeah.
like,
Illinois Center for Broadcasting.
JP was doing the show.
Jared Payton was doing the
Payton
school.
was doing the show.
Yeah, he was doing the show.
Bang and
Bang.
Jay Washington.
were doing their show.
Yeah.
Like
Sean Davis.
Sean Davis.
Sean Davis, yup.
I don't know if it was relevant for you guys, but definitely for me, and I think for
Jack
Tony as well.
Silverstein.
But
Yep.
Trey the Chalk the Jock, before
Yeah,
he
Trey
went
was
down
down
to
there.
Killeen, he was a big part of me actually getting through that process of like, you know,
Always supportive.
folks not settling down in class and being a little bit older and being impatient for
Yeah.
let's be serious about this. He sort of pulled me aside and was like, don't let the distractions get in the way.
Yeah.
And that, along with meeting this room of where the people is what got me through ICB. And then this ongoing relationship is kind of what got me through the last decade. I didn't realize I was as close to the origin of We Are Regal Radio, even though the true origin goes back way further, like you were saying.
I mean, it's just kind of sort of testament
Did
of
Signy get a stock
everybody.
share in this one, or y'all keeping him out of this new money transition too?
Who you talking about?
If he came around, he could get some.
He could. He could.
I fought for you, Sidney.
Sidney Brown, where your ass at?
Also, if we're talking about interns for the past,
Sidney though.
Sidney was a huge part.
Sidney was the first
Huge
person.
part.
Sidney was the first person to write on our website as it was.
Yeah. Yep.
Outside of me, he was the first person to write because he wrote on the Hawks, and that
Yeah.
was the Hawks were a big thing back then. So
They was winning
we
championships,
needed
Stanley Cups.
We needed someone to cover the Hawks.
Diversify
in the playoffs.
the website.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We needed someone to work, and I asked D like, you know, somebody who was interested in hockey. And
Yeah, Sidney. I've known Sidney since 1995. We went to high school together, Brother Rice. So I've known this cat forever, and then we kind of bumped back into each other through my guy Mike, and he was like, "Man, I saw Sidney outside one day. He had his hockey jersey on. I'm like, what are you doing?" And he's like, "Yeah, you know, Demonze is doing radio, whatever." Yeah,
He's the only brother in Oklahoma.
only brother over run
Blackhawks
around.
jersey.
He knows hockey more. I mean, he's like a savant with it, and I'm like, "Hey, you know, come on down." But no, man, the school was a. I think that school, Illinois Center for Broadcasting. Yeah, Illinois Center for Broadcasting, right? That was really a hotbed of talent come out of that school. I wish they would have kind of like cultivated it a little bit more. That station that we was on going through the school had a lot of talent come through that school. I wish they would have kind of, like I said before, cultivated. It could have been something. It could have been like a really cool college station in the city. How much talent came out of there? You look at it now. Like going back to trying to get in the show. I taught myself how to run the board. Like, we had no idea. And I'm like, I'm going to figure it out, Ken. And Ken would be over there. He would look at me. "You got it, D?" I'm like, "Yeah, I got it. And I figured it out some kind of way, and we was on air. And sometimes we wasn't on air. We do a whole show. We was like, "Man, we not live?" It was like, "No, it's not live." But we'll figure it out.
Sean Hiking got, or when the phone lines weren't working.
Oh, my God. The phone lines wouldn't work.
Sean Hiking
that
now
echo.
was like, "You guys are good, but don't call me with that." I understand, Sean.
So many
some
people,
misadventure.
came through that, and we had so many.
After, are we on right now?
Yeah,
We
yeah.
think we broadcast. No, we broadcast. No, y'all not broadcast.
We had, I would mess with the video cameras, make sure we was online because you could stream, you could watch the show too. So we grind and did a lot for that
Sidney be at
station.
that computer, and we had to be. Hold on now.
But this one I wanted to bring up too. I just because we was talking about the hours. We would come in. Wasn't at one point we was doing the show like at 9 in the morning?
No, it's from 10 to.
First we started on Sunday.
Yeah, we started Sundays.
We started on Sundays.
We started Sundays first.
And then we took somebody's hours.
Yeah, we did.
He was like, "Y'all not using these."
Yeah, we
We're
did.
gonna take these hours.
Yeah, we took somebody's show.
Somebody's show because they was messing around.
Yeah, they wasn't serious, man. We
were
was
there
serious,
every-
man.
We were there. D was smart enough to take breaks. I was gonna be there. If we was gonna be there,
I would take breaks.
I was gonna be there.
I'd take breaks.
And real quick, and then
I'll see y'all in 3 weeks.
I just want to I want to give shout outs to two people that helped us tremendously. Christopher Sosa with the
Yes.
Red Eye.
Yes.
Yep.
Put us in the
Big
Red
time.
Eye.
5 on 5.
And also Larry Howley at WGN.
Yes, Larry Howley.
Yeah.
Shout out to Larry.
Did a lot for all of us. I always want to let them know that we always appreciate them because they
Absolutely.
give us the opportunity to
Absolutely.
us. So shout out to
Thank
those
you,
two
King,
gentlemen
for
for always
mentioning
looking
that,
out for us.
Yes.
Yeah, and those are people who really believed in us and saw that we had talent to be on those platforms, and that's meaningful because like I said, I'm gonna keep it positive, but I think
We took that Red Eye stuff to another level.
yeah,
Man,
we
the
was- we
videos
was
that we
doing-
used to do.
we went in on it.
Man, we used to have fun.
When they went to the video, because at first it was just paper.
It was just
right?
paper.
It was just print. But
Yeah.
Then they went to video, and we went in on that video.
And-
we did like say the cuts and stuff when I was working Decision at that point. And
Tony was intern, and we got Tony to be in one of the videos.
Tony was intern at the score. And
Yeah.
we gonna get to Tony in a minute because talk about his story, but. Yeah, that was a great time. Just being able to do that stuff. And
It was a
have
fun
that
time.
Platform. I wish the Red Eye that's another platform that we sort of missing.
Like
in the
CLTV.
city. Yeah, CLTV.
Hey, shout out to Josh
many
Fryman.
opportunities that just aren't there anymore.
Josh
Yeah.
Fryman, Jerry Payne.
Yeah, Jared Payton, Josh Fryman, man, them guys really had locked us down. I think 4 of us, 5 of us have been on that show. At
I'm the
least.
only one who went on the show.
Well, you been up there with us though.
I was up there.
Yeah, you was up there with us.
So
you
so
weren't the
you-
only one.
You would have been on
I
there.
wasn't on
So
there either.
Yeah.
you would have been on there.
You went
so.
on there,
You
yeah.
went on there.
We all was interviewed on there on CLTV. Shout out to
Sports Feed.
Afira too and Courtney Hall down there. Afia. I said
Afia,
Afia. I'm sorry. I used to say,
Courtney
what up,
Hall.
AO? Yeah. Shout out to them, man. They held us down too. Really good. Going over to WTIU, the Jam. We was on the Jam, all the three of us.
Julie Lawrence,
Julie Lawrence, yeah.
Herb, Mitch Rosen,
Mitch Rosen, yeah.
Shane
Hood, Jay Hood for sure.
Yeah, Jay Hood.
Hoodie.
Jay Hood did a
Jay Hood.
Jay Hood did a Q&A with us, and he brought us into the studio.
Oh,
at
wow, that was a
ESPN.
while ago.
Yeah. And that was real early.
Real
I
early.
think that was in 2013.
That was at the old studio they had upstairs.
Yeah.
It wasn't even downstairs on State Street.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hood,
man,
is
I forgot.
Hood has always looked out for us.
Oh,
since-
definitely.
Love Jay Hood, man. Love Jay Hood.
great words of encouragement.
Yes. Yes.
I remember doing a overnight at the school, and him hit me up the next day, and it was like, well, maybe we are doing something right.
Yeah.
And it was like, cause man, shout out to Mitch Rose. Again, that's coming all through Tony, and us going for it after the school kicked us off the air.
Yep.
Told us to go out
Yep.
to Lombard, and we was like, I think we may have to do something else.
Right,
But yeah,
right.
shout out to Mitch Rosen
Shout out
for
to Mitch.
one, allowing us to use the score to do our show. Also, shout out to Danny Parkins too. Danny
Mm-hmm.
Parkins held us on, and also.
He appeared on with y'all.
Yeah.
Lawrence-
Yeah,
Jason
Lawrence.
Goff,
Jason
Jason Goff.
Yeah.
On with
Jason
us.
Goff.
Look,
Jason,
it's
yeah.
I don't want to leave anybody out. I want to really shout out to all the producers down at 6-7 in the score.
Yes.
The ones that worked on our shows when we were on the air, but even the guys when we were recording our content, like Chris Dickens. Again, I said I
the
wasn't
chef.
Mike. Like it's so many different people that
Mm-hmm.
helped us out. I mentioned Shane already, but it was always
Yeah,
nice
Shane.
to us, helping us set up anything when Tony couldn't be there, and just helping us
Yep.
set up and do everything. We had the run of the land at 6-7 to score.
Yeah, you would think
so did,
you would
man.
think that we was like another show for real
Well,
up
none of
there.
us getting no checks up there.
Nothing.
but
Nothing. We was up
in
there.
man.
Some of us were getting checks.
Yeah, we got something. I remember a real quick story from Mitch Rosen. I remember I interned when I was interning for Lawrence Holmes down there at the score, and I think I talked to Campy, Rick Camp, and I'm like, hey, like Rick, it might have been Brendan. One day I went to his office, and I was like, man, I really want to learn how to run the boards. And Brendan was like, hey man, let me tell you something. Interns not supposed to run the boards, but if you really want to learn, you need to come up here and work an overnight show, and just be in the room with whoever in the studio, whoever's running. I'm like, all right, cool. So I'm like, I did it. I wasn't scheduled to be there, and I came up there one night, and I did a whole entire overnight show with Rick Camp. And Rick was like, man, I love Campy, and he was like, hey, ID, I'm gonna let you run the board for this. Maybe like an hour. I did it for an hour. Maybe like for an hour. And he kind of like, stood over my shoulder, because I was used to the studio. Like I said, when Wayne Randazzo was even there, and I would like look over his shoulder, and Lawrence would like get on me, like, D, get off his shoulder. You just an intern, D. D, get off his shoulder. So I'm like, I want to learn. So I was running the board, and it's about 5:30 in the morning, because Mitch would get there super early, and Mitch came in, he opened the door, and I'm just behind the board looking at him. He's like, you work for me? I'm like,
He looks
I was
at
like,
me,
I'm like,
and I look at him.
I looked at him, I'm like, no, sir. He's like, get off the board. He's like, until you work for me, get off the board. And I'm like, all right. So I backed off it like that, but I had learned. I finally touched the boards at the school. I'm like, I know I can do this. I probably came back and talked about it on a show, whatever like
Definitely.
that. But man, it was like all those little moments that just kind of like, obviously I remember, but those little moments was like, okay, like we can do this. Like we can do this. Like, okay, I got my foot in the door right here. I got my foot in the door right here. Ken got his foot in the door right there. Ken doing this. It's like you came along, you know what I'm saying? Tony came along. It was like all these like little sparks
Yeah.
that will always hit until it like finally fucking hit. So man,
and things like congealed in this unique way. And like
Yeah.
the chemistry, all like everybody who came along added to the chemistry.
yep.
And
Somebody put something to the stew.
yeah, and
Somebody did.
It's like
Everybody
we
did.
never had any real breakdowns, or anything.
No.
Which is crazy. Like we would get into it. Like me and Ken would get into it.
We all got into it with each other.
We would.
Melvin saw the first time me and you got into an argument. Well, yeah, the second time we got into an argument in class one time. But Melvin was there when we were recording.
Melvin?
Yeah, Melvin was there. It was the day we were doing like.
Shout out to Melvin out here doing his
You
thing.
made it be around this. We were doing this is when the Bears were here in Chicago, when the draft was here in Chicago.
What happened?
And everybody had left out the room. You thought I didn't say what you said, but you got mad.
I know y'all heard you say it, motherfucker. I heard you say it.
But I mean, I think one of the things I think is true to a degree. If you can really get into a heated argument with somebody, and then you can come back together,
Yes.
you know the boundaries of your relationship better than if you guys have never gotten to a heated exchange. Period. Just like you talk about you yourself and you and I, where we talked about some shit though. Not just even going like times when it was other disagrees with other people, and it was like, yo, if this gotta go, it's gotta be like that. And you was like, it's gotta be. You said to me, like, that's just how it's gotta be. I was like,
Yeah.
I hear you.
It's just that's brotherhood.
Right.
That's why we're so close to this day. I
Mm-hmm.
think because we've been through ups and downs, real ups and downs, like personal, professional, and intertwined, and it's just
We could fill this room up right now with a lot of guys. And women too. You know what I'm saying?
And women too.
And women too, obviously, that can come on down here, man. And
Man, we had an old girl that was our intern that was messing up, and then was like, just remember old girl? She was in
I
class
remember.
with him.
Yeah.
No, I was gonna bring that up actually.
Yeah. I remember her.
Go ahead. You've been
Well,
waiting.
so that was part of the thing. I was like, I felt bad. I was like, I'm gonna jump the line for him, and jump the line for him.
You
to
would
do
be Jason if you didn't do
to
that.
do this chronologically though. Even though we,
Jason's like, I want to talk.
but again, you know, Tony was there. Tony was at the Score to start with when I got placed in with you guys. And I'd done one show with Showtime at night, and then
I always thought you brought Tony in. Please continue.
No.
No. Tony was there first.
I'd done one show with Showtime, and Adam Abdullah had said you should sit in with different people because I was just gonna maybe do the same thing again, but it was the weekend, and so I came down there. It was like 10 o'clock, and I ended up getting assigned to do this at the same time. Again, we're forgetting all the detractors' names. We remember the people to shout out. I can't remember who this was. She was an administrator at a public school, though, and she was doing this. And she said in there, I can't remember if it was 1 or 2 weekends, but walked out of the room, said to me offhandedly, it's just like, these guys aren't going anywhere. They're just talking like this. I was like, I don't know. Seems to be a pretty high level to me.
Wow.
And
She said that about us?
yeah, it was just,
You didn't. The vibe told you that.
yeah.
But she came a couple of times. I thought she
No,
was.
she came twice, and then. But the funny thing is you know, it's like
She was working from home before anybody could work from home.
It was.
Like she working from home. It's like she working from home.
But,
Years before the pandemic.
and I don't actually know what her reasoning for being in there was because again,
No,
she
we
had
would
this
always
solid
ask
position.
for. We
Always ask for a
flash
lady.
for a
We
woman
wanted to
because
have
like,
no, not
yeah.
with you guys. I mean at
Oh,
the
school in
yeah.
general. Like, why are you
because
here?
She was pretty disinterested all the way through, and then again. At the time, it was a 9-month program. I don't remember if
It was a year for
shorter or
us.
It
longer.
shrunk.
It shrunk.
We were longer, and it went back. It was 9. It went to a year, then it went back to 9.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or I think
And then they shortened up beyond that, I think.
Which
later.
they really,
After that,
they
why-
really still
that's why they're not there no more.
Yeah,
that's
that's
why
why
our
they're
names
not
not in the
there.
lights no more on State Street.
But she came to your show twice, and she says these guys aren't ever going anywhere. And I laughed about that every time I would like turn you guys on doing the overnights on the Score. For as long as that was going on, I was like, I hope she's awake. But I sat in with those two, and it was on the weekend, and at the time I was in a relationship and had a dog, so I'm just like, this works much better
Oh
for my
my God,
schedule.
the dog.
And yeah.
You was co-parenting in that dog.
But also,
They
but
divorced
also,
and they still had
but also there was just a synergy between all of us. Kyle talked about it being a brotherhood, and it really happened quickly. Shortly thereafter, I don't remember exactly how long, went through a breakup, and like it's the Dia Davis show that helped keep me out of like a total doldrums. By that time, Tony was around. Spruiel Field started. Tony got busy with the Score, obviously. And this is the other thing I was going to bring up. We got the detractor on the one hand, and then the other, I brought in, I don't even know how I got in with him, but we won't use Christian names, Xander Morgan, because he bought into the whole, using DJ names. And he was, again, doing that hockey thing and, like, bouncing off Sid and doing stuff with you guys. And then he picked me up when I didn't have a place to live. And then he moved in with me. I recently just got... He hasn't lived with me for like 3 years. I just got a jury summons for him.
Oh.
So shout out to Xander. And his,
right?
no. Yeah.
It seemed like it was the way I'm like, is it?
No.
Oh, jury summons.
No, I had to think about it.
But-
For a minute. Oh, it's just a summons.
But it's hilarious. I've lived in the same place now for like 4 years. It's the second time a roommate that doesn't live there anymore has gotten a jury summons. I could really use that trip to a jury, actually.
There you go.
Is he still in Florida or whatever?
I actually don't know. He's been posting stuff to social media events and around. The last I saw him, he was in Northern Kentucky.
Oh,
So
that fits.
yeah. He's been all over, back to California and Florida like 3 or 4 times since he moved out with me. But yeah,
Shout out to Xander.
that was just the whole thing. And I mean, we just kept going until they kicked us out. Really.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was so. Then first of all, let's this is Saul. Before we skip over,
No, you're good. You're good.
No, we gotta get to Tony first.
I can wait.
Yeah.
all right. I didn't know if we were going. Looked like we were going in the line.
We
All right,
were,
because
but
I was gonna say that when we go to the score, now let's.
No, Tony's a very integral part of all of
yeah,
this.
Tony was an aspiring basketball player.
no, he was a superstar.
He's a superstar.
What was that, Tony? Some girl walked past the studio and you was basically like, man, I was a super.
Derrick Rose ain't got shit on me. Derrick Rose, man, the hell with Derrick Rose.
Tony did.
Resentment for that guy.
Tony done bumped heads with some stars here in Chicago before he even met us. But tell
Yeah.
us about your story. He's a star now, of course.
All
7.
over the place.
And
Rangard, NBC Sports.
yeah, but tell your story, man.
Yeah, I mean, once I figured out what I wanted to do, and I didn't have a backup plan, so like the first week there, I was like, I got to go all in and use all this opportunity because I had convinced my parents that this is what I wanted to do with my life. And to their credit, they didn't shoot it down. They were concerned, a little bit like, okay, you sure? All right.
Tony, we had a whole church here for you. We had this whole church that could be yours, Tony. Are you sure?
What's that show, The Righteous Gemstone?
There you go. Are you sure, son?
It'd have been the Black Gemstone.
So I didn't know what else that I was gonna do to make sure I pursue this with as much effort as I could. So the first week I started at ICB Net, it was then ICB. I'm like, okay, I don't do anything on Saturdays, so let's see what's happening with their local sports station. And the first show I saw was the Dean Davis show. That was the first one I saw on the list. That okay, it was like usually people that want to get up and do what they want to do, they usually do in the morning. So I saw that you guys had basically almost that whole morning locked up. So I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna stay, for the next show. But yeah, it was. But I ended up staying for the next show because Jason had the next show. And I just sat in. I was like, okay. I got in there early, and I just sat. And I was like, these guys are doing what I want to do in the style, in the way that I want to do it. So I just kept coming back, and we just became friends, lifelong friends through that. And then you guys really let me grow there as a talent and as a producer. Shout out to Kyle for letting me do things as he was the EP of the show. And then Ken and D allowing me to, mess with the sound of the show. And that's super important because, one, obviously D mentioned earlier, he certainly has an ear for sound and he understands sound. Ken definitely has an ear himself. So for them and Kyle to allow me to mess around with the feel of a radio show is very important, and I didn't take that for granted. So for me to make my first open was for the Dean Davis show. Like I had to clear it with the people at the score. My very first open I ever created was for the Dean Davis show.
Was that our first open to the show at all? Like open? We should turn the mics on, right? We had music. What do we have?
One with Neff on it.
Oh,
It's like,
Neff.
it's the D and Davis show.
Shout out to Neff.
Yeah, shout out to
Yeah, I
Neff
forgot
for
about that.
So we had one with Neff on it. I think Bobby didn't like that. That we didn't ask her. Then we went and got Neff to do it. We used the Neff one for a minute, and then like you said, and I remember Tony. I remember you talking about. I think you went to Tanny to ask him how it sounded or whatever. But go ahead. This is the rest of your story.
No, yeah, and from then on, you guys really helped me hone my skill in this. I'm not where I'm at today or any place after if it wasn't for the Dean Davis show. I don't know where I was going to get my practice. I don't know where I was going to get my reps. Ken always talks about get reps, no matter what it is, no matter how bad you think you are. If you do the reps, you'll get better at it. And I don't get those reps if it's not for the Dean Davis show and We Are Radio. So that's kind of how I got started. Now it's like, we're all good now. We're here now.
You are a superstar.
Known
Even-
throughout the lands.
Even with those early things that he did to the show, like the intros, the outros, the segment.
The Derrick Rose hate.
I'm talking strictly about the audio, but yeah, his takes were important.
We were the first place for his takes. We were the first place for Tony's takes.
Dude, when Tony was blessing the mic, get on the mic, I'm like, I don't know what this kid is saying, but I mean, I hear him, but
It was
that's
fire.
some wild shit.
It was fire.
That's some wild
It was
shit.
fire.
So many agendas.
I'm like, what? I'm like, what did he just say? I'm like, all right. Okay, Tony. I'm like, damn it, Tony. All right, okay.
That key right there.
Damn it, Tony.
But we used to do like special segments and stuff, and he would add these things that made us sound a lot more professional, and it added to the flair of the show. And
Close to a
For
pro
real.
show.
we were close to it. I think we put on as good a show as any in the city for that price. We
Yeah.
I mean, also people were still in our shit because we was on Saturdays.
yeah.
So there were a lot of the two big radio stations
Yeah.
where our topics from Saturday, and of course we all talk about the same stuff, but when someone was listening, particularly what you were saying, and it's the first time they dropping it, it's like, oh, you was checking us out Saturday.
I can't remember who it was. We had a guest on. We had some illustrious guests
Yes,
too.
we
We
did.
had some really good guests.
Shout out to the
We had some
producers.
really good guests. We'll
Shout
get
out
to
to our
any show.
producers.
We'll-
Shout out to our producers.
Shout out to
as
the,
good as
yeah,
any
we'll
show.
talk about the lineage of guests we had, but I forgot who she was, and basically I forgot who she was. But anyway, she's like, listen, I think sometimes we would even ask people like, we're just starting off. You got any advice for us like that? We kind of ask those kind of questions. She's like, listen, you might not think nobody's listening to you. Somebody listening to you. Just keep doing what you're doing. Somebody listening to you. And that goes directly to Ken's point. It'd be plenty of times we'll be riding around together or we be doing something. It's like, did you hear that? Like, man, these motherfuckers. All right. So that lets you know. We on to something. We got something going. We got something cooking. The brothers is in this.
Other people that we hadn't met that had heard about us. Yeah. There are people that are giants in this industry that, someone be like, oh, Ken, that someone mentioned it and they said they knew you guys or they knew your work. Just want to say this real quick. It's one thing, you see this a lot. I think a lot of us grew up in the hip-hop. Well, hip-hop has been big forever. But that's one of those lanes which everyone wants to kind of get into entertainment for a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember the boy Illinois, who graced us several times, said
Yeah.
that when
Shout
he
out
first
to Ill.
started, everybody in his crew wanted to basically rap or whatever. And the people that lasted were the people that found something their lane or whatever, right?
Yep.
We were fortunate enough that we all had something to bring to it where we all just didn't want to be the MC. And this doesn't mean that we didn't aspire, the rest of y'all didn't aspire to be the MC too, but everyone helped us grow as the forefront.
Yep.
And a lot of people aren't blessed to have people do that for them.
That's real.
That takes
was a
selfish.
blessing, man.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing to take away, that people. It just wasn't, yo, I want people to hear me on here. It was, I'm going to help us get to this, and I'm going to do this to help that. And I think a lot of times crews fail, or while a lot of those other shows didn't necessarily reach the heights that we've been blessed to reach because they didn't have a family.
Yeah.
A family provides you may fall off. I'm on here. I may fall off. You could Tony pulling me here. You know what I'm saying? So those different things when you have a family and a team, and particularly to be men of color, to have that, because that's always the thing where it's like the crab in the barrel mentality, the artificial barrel. But to have that, and for us to exceed, and us to bump heads, but to know the brotherhood is so much stronger, and the love for each other is so much stronger, I will always cherish that the most.
And I want to work off of that too, because I give a little bit of my history. When I came down in 2012. When I came down, I was down. I was out, man. I wasn't in a great spot in 2012. I moved back to Chicago from Wisconsin, and I had my first run of being a professional up there, and a lot went well up there, but it ended badly. And I say that for the memoirs as far as the details, but
just don't make that the last time it happens, Kyle. Moving forward, that's the last time.
Yeah.
Come back on your shield.
But I was out. I was ass out in a lot of ways, and I was looking for purpose, and I was in a place where I was working in a group of like 4 newsrooms, and I was like the only brother there. Across 4 newspapers, I was working. That's what my environment was, and I was looking to regroup and be back home, and just I was looking for a lot of things that I didn't know what. And when D came to me about really contributing to Regal Radio, it started out with helping cover the UIC stuff.
UIC Flames.
Yeah, y'all that got on.
I'm sorry. Sean reached out to them. Sean Terry reached out to them and was like, "Hey, can we cover y'all?" And they basically was like, "Yeah." So it was like, "Damn, okay." So we would go down there a couple of home games, and we did one road game down about Valparaiso. So yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Still to this day, who's gonna be great?
Oh man, that brother from Cleveland State, what was his name, man?
Cole.
Play for the Heat.
He played for the Heat too.
Norris Cole.
Norris Cole.
Yeah,
Man, let me tell you something.
Norris Cole can take that job. Norris Cole, I'm telling you, Norris Cole.
Hey man, Norris Cole can hoop. I ain't paying too much, but you know what I'm saying, he was killing the Horizon
There was
League.
still a seal.
Hey, he was killing the Horizon League,
There was
man.
still
I'm telling you, it don't matter if he leave. Norris Cole is there.
Let me say right quick though, that was an opening for me to get back on to cover live events, which was like I said, I was a writer, I was a newspaper guy, and I up until that point, unlike y'all, I wasn't really into sports radio. I kind of looked down on it a little bit. And
Man, God.
I'm just saying.
Hey man,
I could tell.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I was sort of ignorant in the ways too, and I a little snobby because I'm young. I got a college degree. I'm a writer.
I'm a writer.
I'm serious.
Yeah, I'm a wordsmith.
Right.
Big J journalist.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Big J, big protein. But D and Ken, when I started to listen to them, and I was listening to y'all up there for Football Island and stuff, and I was like, okay, there's something there. And then when I came down here and I started to sit in with y'all, I was like, for the first time, I was really like, wow, this is what it's like to really be a part of something, on this platform and see it done in a way that really appeals to me. And I was listening to other people at the time, like, Deezus and Miro and Bomani Jones, and I was saying, okay, they're doing this on this national level, but I'm seeing what I see in those people, I see in my guys right here. So that caused me to be like, I was ready. I muscled myself in. but that was part of me just wanting to really be a part of something, seeing that I could be on, like you said with that job, I could be on the ground floor of something really special. And I still think y'all could go on today and put on a show as good as anybody in Chicago, if not the country.
Yeah.
And
we got that chemistry, man. We've been doing it for so long, yeah. And we still talk, so.
Yeah, I still think that, and I definitely thought that then, and that was.
Oh, Tony's still mad at D. I want to put still
Every time I hear this, every time I'm around, he's still mad at you, right?
Hey.
We was on the boat, Tony's still mad at you, right? in front of my old man too. Hey, my old man. Yeah, I know, man. He should have kept on doing it.
Because I think that week or the week before, we was to me and Tony. Tony was like, I could have got you and D up in here, right? I was like, I wanted to leave. I'm always like, as long as he's happy, if you truly love someone,
hey, I'm happy.
Exactly.
I mean, and then the retirement package, the bread that they offer was so sweet. When you get that type of money, you got to really think about it.
But that's how special I thought y'all were, and that's the reason why I put so much of myself into both the show and Regal Radio, and We Are Regal Radio, and I think everything just built from there, and it's so special, so unique that everything came together the way it did, and we have people like Ryan and so many people out across the country now who
Melvin and
added
Scoop.
to it. Melvin, Scoop, and
Didn't we give Scoop his first radio interview?
Yeah.
Oh,
Scoop.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scoop always. That's why he always we
He always
came in
been-
together.
Yeah. Yeah.
And look at him all around the world.
I know, right?
Shout out to Scoop.
Go ahead, Joe.
Scoop B.
To bounce off of what Ken and Kyle were just saying, though, I think going back to that moment, we all picked up on that same energy of like, not just that there's this kinship and this thing, but everybody has these. Even if we don't have the reps to really do it professionally, we hold ourselves to that standard, and we're not perfectionists necessarily. We're just pushing the envelope of like what our abilities are at that given moment based on the innate talent that everybody has. And again, everybody kind of weirdly naturally slotted into different roles at different times. And actually I'll use this as a moment to segue for Saul. I was just doing the last thing I did was to do the football/soccer podcast.
I'm gonna say too. I'm glad we're able to get you back on something.
Yeah.
Been trying to do that for years too.
Yeah. Well, that was the thing. Ken was on you about always reverting back to the like coming back with your tail between your legs or hangdog from Wisconsin, and I've kind of had this recurring thing of like putting all of my efforts into something until I'm just totally depleted, and then the only thing that keeps me from just completely falling into the void is the men in this room and the men in the text group text that we have. But I felt a similar energy the last thing we did in terms of just like for just pulling this kind of spur of the moment with very minimal prep, what we were doing the other day, and especially once I saw what was posted to social media, and it just dawned on me when we're listening to you talk, Kyle, a lot like those first couple of shows I turned up at, like just where it's just like we got something here. And like again, we talked about not just finding our groove or whatever, but like that connective tissue is 10 years to the present of you just catch lightning in a bottle sometimes. And I don't know, it's remarkable. And then also just the way we look out for each other, whether it's just like didn't even know how bad I was feeling and Ken will like check in on me or something, or Kyle will hit me up with something that I should be doing even if he's got to drag me into doing it, or Melvin just being super supportive. Actually, Melvin on the way here like offered to cover a part of a Lyft ride to get me here faster.
You should just hit me up too, because I could have brought you.
Well, no, it's cool. But like, I was just standing there, and I suddenly realized I was like, I'm standing right by a train station, and so I got on it. But like, he'd seen it in the group text and slid in one-on-one, and he would probably not be happy with me bringing it up publicly. But you know what?
No, that's fine. That's good.
He's
It's all good, man.
we all do that for each other.
We picked each other up in so many different ways. This is like, I don't have a big social circle. And I've never really maintained a big social circle, but the way that when things happen naturally, you can't deny it, and it's so meaningful when it happens naturally. And people, it's crazy, like the way that we vibe and everything. It's not. And Saul is added to this too, man. We gonna get to you, Saul, in a minute.
Are we though?
Yeah.
We
gotta get into the present because we've been talking about the past too long.
It's like a war. It's like a war class.
But
She go in. We damn, we gotta get this off.
But I don't know, man. I can't. I'm gonna get to rambling because it's just hard to explain because it's something that I really don't want to take for granted, especially at this point. I'm reaching a transition point now, and we gonna it's just a blessing, and I'm thankful